Katranke peji kachokes boyate travoya ke waniche.
The original Lakota name was Tashunke Kokipa. In English, it was translated to afraid of his horse. He was not scared of his horse, but the enemy got afraid just by seeing his horse or horses. He was therefore called Man Afraid of His Horses, and was perhaps the first chief or leader of the Ogallala Nation. He had a son named after him who also became a leader of the Ogallala Oyate, or nation. So we have both old and young man afraid of his horses. The family name is very old and by some called the Adams family of the Native American. Afraid of His Horse was born in 1800 or 1801 and passed away at Camp Robinson, Nebraska, 1878. Afraid of His Horses camped there with his son, Young Man Afraid of His Horses. Young Man Afraid of His Horses mourned the loss of father and mentor. They both were present when the war leader, Crazy Horse, was stabbed to death by a young soldier, and that all started from a bad rumor in the camp of Red Cloud, who was also present and had his camp of Ogallalas about 1 mile to the east of the main buildings at Camp Robinson, a little west of Crow Butte.
My name is Tom Beaker. I'm the curator of the Fort Robinson Museum for the Nebraska State Historical Society. Fort Robinson was established in 1874 to guard the Red Cloud Agency. Now the Red Cloud Agency was kind of north and east of here, about 1.5 miles. And the fort was built in the early spring of 1874, kind of at the foot of the Red Cloud Buttes, and those are the large buttes that you see back behind. During the agency period, there were quite a few camps right in around the fort area. I've never seen a map or anything that shows the exact location of the camps, but we have a few photos, and by examining the photos you can see and get an idea where these different bands of the Sioux were from 1874 until late in 1877. Now one of the major camping areas they had was where the town of Crawford was, or is today, about 3 miles northeast of this site.
During the Red Cloud War against the white soldiers, Young Man Afraid of His Horses was a scout in the band and a feared warrior amongst the enemy. In the Fetterman battle, he had a role as decoy next to Crazy Horse. Young Man Afraid of His Horses soon became a leader of his own band of Ogallalas called Hunkpatila, which later was taken over by Crazy Horse. In the 1880s, Young Man Afraid of His Horses was the main leader of the Ogallala Sioux tribe and was looked upon as the head chief by the white soldiers. This was something that Red Cloud could not tolerate, so during a council meeting, Young Man stood up and said, "I was born into leadership as my father before me. I was not elected as one." Later on, both Young Man Afraid and Red Cloud rekindled their friendship from childhood. The whites liked Young Man Afraid for his honesty and skills in negotiating on different matters, and at one council meeting, he came riding in with his warriors singing.
Hata mitrawapki, lo chimp. Ash we chasha yamani otkewi chayakta ke happy. Howo e chumpo. Hanta mishia. Akichi tanitrawa yamani. We chawakach nigin ha. Makroche ukitrapki. Mayanu pe he mija. Otkewi chawankdelo.
Both father and son settled down in Payabaya, or Community 4, on the Pine Ridge Reservation, South Dakota, after leaving the old campsite at Lone Man, pretty close to present Ogallala. Young Man Afraid of His Horses was born in 1836 and passed away in a mysterious manner after a visit to Crow Agency, Montana. That took place just outside the city of Newcastle, Wyoming. The date was June 19, 1893. He was put to rest just about a mile northwest of Lone Man School, Ogallala. Today, Nellie Tubles lives, and her residence is right below the campground of father and son. For most of her life, Grandma Nellie has been telling the story of father and son to all people, and has traveled the United States telling the history of her people, singing honor songs and old songs of her people, the Oglala Lakota Nation. 31 years now, she has maintained a powwow, giveaway, and naming ceremony in the name of Afraid of His Horse on what has become known as Afraid of His Horse ceremonial grounds.
Today is the day that we put up the sign for Man Afraid of His Horse, and this is his homestead, and he used to live here, and these are his community, and even a church that Afraid of His Horse Church, and the cemetery called Man Afraid of His Horse Cemetery, and still stands, but the church is removed. And this is his wish, that he wants to bury in his homeland. And he's buried across where you see those white cliffs across. He's still, up to this day, he's buried there. But his grave is unknown, just like Crazy Horse. He don't want to be announced or advertised. I hope that people see these signs and respect it, and not anything that foolish. Today, when they put a sign, they put writings in it, but that's not right. But I want these signs to be blessed for our Kankashila, Wakankanka, and these signs will stand here for a long time. And today, there are not too many, but some of our descendants are here, my daughter and my nieces and my grandsons, and we're going to have a little ceremony here where they raise this sign up, and I'm going to sing a song. My mother, she's a singer, and she used to sing this song for Man Afraid of His Horse when my mom was alive. But she died, and there's hardly any women solo singers, but I'm still alive, to sing honor song for my people. So I'm gonna sing a song for Man Afraid of Horse today. song I sing for my great-great-grandfather, which he was a humbly chief and was dedicated to his people.
Grandma Nellie, I remember many times Grandma, when she would win at the powwows, and after the 4 days were done with the powwow, Grandma always was a winner, always was a winner. And I remember how the crowd would just cheer for Grandma Nellie. And I remember those were the days when Grandma could walk. Those were the days when Grandma could run. And Grandma would run across the powwow arena just to show the people her strength and her love for the dance and the music. And I would be so proud in the crowd as a little girl looking at her, and that's my grandma. And then she would always call me up there when she got up there. Takoja. And I would be afar with a different family, but she always acknowledged me. But Grandma taught me to be strong when I was younger. She taught me to keep my head up and be proud of our name. And I am very proud of my name. Grandmother to me is very, very special. To my children, she's very special. I try to teach my younger ones to talk Indian, to learn the language, just for Grandma to hear them. Because that's what Grandma would want for us to know. She has a story for every situation you're in. She'll have a story for you. And she'll tell you, don't cry, Takoja. And those are $1 million words to me. And they always will be. I love Grandma Nellie so much.
Helila wopila tranka. Like Intinali said, I too am from a widow source. When you see this picture, the Devil's Tower, you probably wonder what it's about. And that's where the great-grandfather had a vision. He wanted peace, he wanted treaty. And that's when he came up with 7 names, man names and woman names. One of them is Red Star. That's Lakota, and interpreted into that. So this picture, it all has a story to it. It all has meaning. And there was a rock here, that's where they put that great-grandpa Featherby's horse to fast on. Well, the next morning when his sisters went to check, there was nobody. So the great-grandma started crying, and they heard a voice, and he was on top of here. He stood up there 4 days. 4th day evening, a big old thunderstorm again, and they brought him down. Yes, that great-grandpa of Featherby's horse, he wanted peace, he was thinking for the future. He wasn't only talking for himself. And I thank Denali for continuing this. And I tell that to my children and my grandchildren. And I know my cousin, Mabana, we all need to do that to keep the history going. When the stories come up, when somebody's in a positive way, I said that great-grandpa was like that. That's why he wanted education, the health, and the welfare. And that treaty was supposed to get the logs from the Black Hills. That's what he wanted. And our meat from Black Hills, too. He wasn't a selfish man. He had a big heart.
I'd like to say a few words in behalf of our great-great-great-grandfather. You know, my my folks talked about this, and they wanted to do something in honor of him, and we all talked about it, and we started this. It'll be 30 years in July, and every one of my grandchildren got named their Indian names there, um, and my children, they all got their Indian names there. And I would really like to thank Mr. Kaare from Norway and Tim Whiteface from Rapid City.
February 18th, 2007, Grandma Nellie sadly passed away early in the morning, surrounded by her closest family at the regional hospital in Rapid City. A wake was held at Belly Mills Hall on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, South Dakota, and she was put to rest at the cemetery at District 4, Payabaya, where she lived all her life. A huge crowd gathered to mourn the loss of a great lady and grandmother to the Oglalas. She is a great loss to everybody, and her name will never be forgotten. She is now with her ancestors and husband, Matthew. She might be gone from this world, but a legend lives on.
Hey!